everyone, welcome to Biology with MJ. This is MJ, your enthusiastic guide. So whether you are a NEET aspirant or simply a biology lover, this video is filled with valuable insights and knowledge. Okay, so stay tuned till the end of the video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and press the bell icon so that you never miss an update. Remember to like, comment and share this video with your friends. Okay, so let's get to the video.
Hello students, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to cover the topic leaf from the chapter Morphology of Flowering Plants. Okay, this is lecture number 3 of this video. For the previous lectures, you can check out the playlist link attached here. Okay, and also in the description of this YouTube video. So let's get to the video. So what is the leaf? The leaf is the part of the plant which appears green in color. Okay, whenever you will look at a plant, how do you identify a plant? Most of us identify the plants with their green leafy structures, right? Whenever we see, oh, this is green, we automatically associate it with a plant. So leaves are these lateral flattened structures which are green in color. Okay, see, this is a plant. Majority of the plant's body has green colored leaves, right? So what are these leaves actually? These are lateral structures. That means they are flattened structures. Okay, they are very thin structures. They are not very thick. They are lateral, like this. They are present on a plant. Okay, they develop at the node. That on the stem, several points are there from which the leaves arise. These points are known as nodes. We have also talked about this in our previous videos. So this point here where the leaf is arising, then this point, then this point, this point. Each point on the stem where leaves are arising are known as nodes. And in between two nodes, there is a space which is present. There is this region that is present, which is known as the internode. Okay, so leaves develop at the node always. They originate from SAM. Now, what is the full form of SAM? SAM stands for shoot apical meristem, right? Now, shoot apical meristem is the meristematic tissue which gives rise to the shoot system of the plant. Okay, this apical meristematic tissue is present at the tip of the stem and its branches. Okay, this shoot apical meristematic tissue is responsible to give rise to all of the parts of the plant that we see above the ground, which includes flowers, which includes the stem, the leaves, the branches. Okay, and then there is the root apical meristem part, which is present at the root tip and which is responsible for giving rise to the root system of the plant. So both these shoot apical meristematic and root apical meristematic tissues basically give rise to the primary tissues of the plant body. Okay. Leaves show acropetal arrangement. What is acropetal arrangement? Acropetal arrangement means that the younger leaves are present towards the apex, okay, and the older leaves are present at the base of the stem. So in the lower regions of the plant, consider this as a plant. So in the lower regions of the plant, we will see the older and mature leaves, okay, but as we will go up, the leaves will become younger. Okay, so the youngest leaves would be present at the tip and the oldest leaves would be present at the base of the stem. So this kind of arrangement is known as the acropetal arrangement. Okay, it is known as the acropetal arrangement. The basipetal arrangement is just the opposite. In the basipetal arrangement, the older structures are present towards the top or the apex and the younger structures are present towards the base. Okay. Now leaves, the most well-known function, we all know, like even a small child would know that leaves are responsible for photosynthesis. That is, photosynthesis is a process by which plant synthesizes its food, okay, using sunlight, carbon dioxide, water. Alright, so this is the major function of leaf. Leaves bear a bud in the axil. Now we also studied about this bud when we were studying about the stem part in the previous lecture. Okay, this bud is known as the axillary bud, which is present at the point of attachment of a leaf and a stem. See, this bud here, right here, this structure is known as the axillary bud. It is formed at the upper angle between the leaf and the stem. So, each of these leaves bear a axillary bud in their axil. So, these were the general characteristics of the leaf. Now, let us move forward. Now, let us talk about parts of a leaf. If we want to divide a leaf into various parts, how can we theoretically divide it into such parts? So, a leaf basically consists of three main parts. Okay. One is the petiole. See, this structure which attaches this part of the leaf to the stem. Now, this part here is the stem. Okay. This part here which you see, a stick-like structure, a stalk we can say, is known as the petiole. Okay, it is attached to this part of the leaf which is known as the lamina. And then the point of attachment, at the point of attachment, the lowermost part of the leaf is known as the leaf base. So, a leaf can be divided into these three main parts, which is starting from the leaf base, we can say number one, leaf base, then there is petiole, and then there is the big green flattened lamina. Alright, so these were the three main parts of the leaf. We will cover each of these parts now one by one. Now let's consider the petiole first. So petiole, see this structure right here is the petiole, okay. So it is the cylindrical stalk of the leaf. It is cylindrical, okay. It is not flat. It is cylindrical in appearance. This cylindrical stalk of the leaf, what is its function? It holds the blade of the leaf. See, this is the blade of the leaf, right? This lamina part can also be called as the blade of the leaf. So this petiole holds the blade in the horizontal position so that it can capture sunlight, because in this position the leaves can get access to maximum amount of sunlight. So this is the most suitable position for a leaf in order to capture or harness the energy of sunlight. So the role of the petiole is to hold the leaf blades into such horizontal positions. We can also call it as a lateral position. The word lateral was written in the previous slide, right? So it means the same thing. Okay, so let us move forward now. See, long, thin, flexible petioles, they also allow the leaf blades to flutter in the wind. See, here the leaves are fluttering in the wind, right? So why are they able to flutter? Because of the presence of petiole. It provides them that point of attachment or that holding onto, so that the leaves can easily dwindle their way in the wind. Now, how does this dwindling or fluttering of leaves help the plant? So, this swaying of leaves provides a cooling effect to the leaves. Okay, the leaves cool down, their temperature cools down when they flutter in the wind, and they can also get access to greater amount of sunlight when they flutter, because as and when they will flutter, more and more areas of the leaves which were not able to access that much amount of sunlight would now get access to the sunlight as the leaves would flutter in the wind, right? So this is how things work with petiole. Now there are some leaves where petioles are absent altogether. So such leaves are known as sessile leaves. Okay, sessile leaves are those which lack a petiole. So no petiole means sessile leaves. So see, this is the stem. These are the leaves lacking a petiole. So here the leaves are directly clasping. The stem is directly clasping the leaf. Okay. Both of the stem and the leaves are attached directly. There is no stalk between them. The blade of the leaf or the lamina of the leaf is directly attached to the stem. Okay, there is no petiole. So these are sessile leaves. All right. Now let's come to leaf base. Leaf base is the lowermost part of the leaf, right here, below the petiole. At the base of the petiole is present leaf base. It is the lowermost part of the leaf, okay, by which the leaf is joined to the node of the stem. So the point of attachment of a leaf to the stem is known as a node, and the leaf is attached to the node via leaf base. And what is leaf base? It is the lowermost part of the leaf. Okay. This leaf base, what is its role? It protects the young axillary bud. See, this is the axillary bud which is present at the point of attachment of the leaf and the stem, right? At the upper angle of the leaf formed between the leaf and the stem. So this leaf base has a function of protecting the young axillary bud which is present here. How does it protect the young axillary bud? We'll just look at how it does that. Now see here, leaf base contains two small lateral outgrowths called stipules. Not always, but often, most of the time, the leaf base would contain these two small leaf-like structures which surround the axillary buds. So these stipules, they protect the young leaf and its axillary buds. So this is how the leaf base is protecting the young axillary bud. See, this is the young axillary bud, right? And these two are the stipules. These stipules are nothing but a part of leaf base only. These stipules, they protect this young axillary bud and also the leaf when it is young. So leaf base plays an important function in protecting the young axillary bud and the young leaf. So here that we saw, right, that the leaf base protects the young axillary bud. So this is the explanation to that point on this slide. Okay. Now stipules are found in many dicots. Okay, it is found in many dicots, but these stipules, they are absent in monocots. Stipules are not present in monocots. That is why in this slide it was written that leaf base often contains. Now often means most of the times, not always. So here is the explanation to that previous slide, because stipules are found in many dicots but they are absent in monocots. So whenever the leaves in which stipules are present, those leaves are known as stipulate leaves. The leaves having stipules are known as stipulate leaves, and the leaves lacking stipules are known as exstipulate leaves. Okay, so there are two kinds of leaves based on the presence or absence of stipules. Number one, stipulate leaves which have the stipules, and number two, exstipulate leaves which lack stipules. So in dicots, many dicot stipules are present, yes, and in monocot stipules are absent. So as you can see, this is a dicot leaf with the reticulate venation. We will also study about this in details later. So here two stipules are present. See, stipules are present. So this is the stipulate leaf. Now this is the monocot leaf, right? See, here no stipule is present. At the point of attachment of the leaf and the stem, we cannot see any stipule here. Okay, so this is an exstipulate leaf. So stipules are absent in monocots. In monocots, the leaf base expands into a sheath covering the stem partially or wholly. See, in monocots, what happens is the leaf base is present here, right? So the leaf base is not just present at the point of attachment. It is in fact expanding and covering itself, covering the stem of the monocot by forming a sheath around it, and thereby it covers the stem either partially or it is covering it wholly. So see, this is the leaf base of the monocot leaf. See, petiole is not present in this monocot leaf. So this leaf base has already expanded. It has covered the stem of the monocots. Okay, see how it has covered the stem of the monocot by expanding and forming this sheath-like structure. So this is covering it. This is covering the monocot stem partially. Okay. So these kinds of leaf bases can be seen in monocots. Okay, in monocots, these leaf bases expand into these sheath-like structures and they cover the stem either partially or wholly, completely. Now, in some leguminous plants, what happens is the leaf base may become swollen. This leaf base right here, it is present, right? So, you can see this is a swollen leaf base. It has swollen. So, this kind of structure is known as a pulvinus. This swollen leaf base is known as a pulvinus, and it is seen in dicots. Okay, dicots, specifically leguminous plants. Leguminous plants are dicots only. Okay, so since leguminous plants are dicots, we have written dicots here. So pulvinus is seen in these leguminous plants. Okay, leguminous plants are those in which the roots has certain nodules in them. Okay, in those nodules nitrogen fixing bacteria are present. Their fruits are legumes. Okay, all of those pulses that you know, okay, which belong to the family Fabaceae, which is also known as the family Leguminosae. The alternate name of the family Fabaceae is Leguminosae, right? So this is how in the leguminous plants this kind of leaf base is seen, which gets swollen, and this structure is known as pulvinus. Now let us talk about the lamina or the leaf blade. So the lamina is the green expanded part of the leaf. The biggest part of the leaf is the lamina. We can also call it as the leaf blade. This is the part which gives the leaf, all of the parts of the leaf are green in color, but since this part covers the most of the area in the leaf, it is the green expanded part of the leaf. Okay, it is specialized for photosynthesis. This is the part of the leaf which is responsible for photosynthesis. Now it has two surfaces. A leaf has a top surface and a bottom surface, right? So the upper part of the leaf is known as the adaxial part or the adaxial surface. This is the adaxial surface of the leaf. It can also be called as the ventral or upper part of the leaf. Then there is the lower surface of the leaf, which is known as the abaxial portion of the leaf, right in this figure. Okay, when you turn the leaf on its backside, you can see these prominent, the veins can be seen on the topmost surface also, but at the back of the leaves they are more thick and lifted and more pronounced. So this is the back portion of the leaf. Now since this is the back portion of the leaf, you can remember it like this, back. In abaxial also back word is there, right? So back, abaxial, now you can remember, because I also often get confused in between these two terms. So this is how I have learned. From back you can memorize, okay, abaxial, back is also here. So abaxial means the back surface of the leaf or the dorsal or the lower part of the leaf. Adaxial means the ventral or upper part of the leaf. Okay, so this was about the leaf blade. Now the leaf blade has numerous veins and veinlets which support it. So veins are these thick structures which are present in the leaves, and veinlets are these tiny thread-like structures which are present in between the veins and filling the rest of the gaps. Okay, so there is the middle prominent vein in the center, the vein that is present, it is the most prominent of all. This is known as the midrib. Okay, from midrib various other veins arise. So these main veins are look very thick in appearance. Okay, they are more pronounced than veinlets. Veinlets are very fine, whereas veins are thicker, and the midrib is the thickest. So what does these veins do? They provide rigidity to the leaf. They provide stability to this leaf blade. They act as channels. Now these veins, they contain the vascular tissue, xylem and phloem. So they act as channels for the transport of water, minerals and food materials through these tissues, through these vascular tissues. Okay, these are the channels because these contains the vascular tissue for the transport of the food materials, water and minerals. All right. Now the arrangement of veins and veinlets is also is also different in different kinds of leaves. Okay. So the arrangement of veins and veinlets in the lamina of the leaf is known as venation. First of all, understand this. Now, venation is of two types. In monocots, the venation you will find is different as compared to the venation that you can see in dicots. So, these two kinds of venations exist. And venation is nothing but basically the arrangement of veins and veinlets on the leaf lamina. Okay. Now, reticulate venation is present in dicots and parallel venation is seen in monocots. Now, what happens in reticulate venation? In reticulate venation, a midrib is present, certain veins are present which arise from the midrib, and then these network of veinlets are present. Okay, they're present, they form a network or mesh-like structure as you can see here. There is no particular order of arrangement of these veins and veinlets. Okay, so these veinlets are present like randomly in a reticulate fashion, they exist. They arise from these veins. See this is the veinlets arising, forming a network mesh-like structure. So this is reticulate venation and it is seen in dicots. Characteristic feature of identifying a dicot plant is that the leaves will show reticulate venation. Then in monocots, the venation is parallel. See, a middle midrib is also present here. Now the veins in monocots run parallel to each other like this. They do not form a network or mesh-like structure. So this kind of venation is known as parallel venation, and this is the characteristic feature of identifying a monocot plant, that its leaf will have parallel veins. Now these veins could also be they are present horizontally or diagonally, we can say, but they can also be present like this. Okay, vertically they can also be present, veins running like this. So these are the two kinds of venation. Now the shape, the margin of the leaves, the apex, surface, and the extent of incision. Incision means the cuts present in the lamina. They can vary in different kinds of leaves. You'll understand more about it soon. So based on the incision of lamina, which involves it involves two kinds of leaves. Based upon the incision of lamina, the leaves can be divided into simple leaf and compound leaf. Okay. Now let's come to simple leaves. In simple leaves, a leaf is said to be simple when its lamina is entire. What is a simple leaf? When its lamina is entire. See, as in this mango leaf, the lamina is entire, no cuts are present in the lamina. Or when incised, see, there is an exception here. When incised, the incisions do not touch the midrib. See, when the leaf is incised, the incisions are not touching the midrib. So such leaf can also be called as a simple leaf. So simple leaf, a leaf is said to be simple if either the lamina is entire, number one, or if incisions are present, they do not touch the midrib. And incisions are these cuts in the lamina which are present. Okay, and one of the examples of simple leaf is in the mango plant. The other example is seen in the monstera plant. This example represents those kinds of simple leaves in which incisions are present but they do not touch the midrib. Okay, because only those kinds of leaves can be considered as simple leaves in which either the lamina is entire, or if the incisions are present, they should not be touching the midrib. So for the second case, the example is the monstera plant, which you can remember, and for the first case, the example is mango. So both begin from M. You can remember it by M square. Okay, two M's are there as examples, mango and monstera. Now consider compound leaf. Now when incisions of the lamina, when they reach up to the midrib and breaking the leaf, the big leaf which was entire, into a number of small leaflets, then the leaf is known as a compound leaf. So when do we call a leaf as compound? When the incisions, they have touched the midrib. Okay, incisions of the lamina When these cuts of the lamina, when they have touched the midrib, we can call the leaf as the compound leaf, because now the leaf has broken down into a number of small leaflets. It is not a single leaf anymore. It is a single leaf, but it has a number of leaflets now in it. So these leaflets together, they can be called as a leaf. That is why we call it as a compound leaf, because it has number of units in it. Now the compound leaves can also be of two types: pinnately compound leaf and palmately compound leaf. Pinnately compound leaf. In a pinnately compound leaf, a number of leaflets are present on a common axis, which is known as the rachis. See, this is the rachis which is present. It represents the midrib of the leaf. Now, what has happened in the pinnately compound leaf? The incisions have reached the midrib and they have broken down the leaf into numerous leaflets. So, if the leaf was suppose like this previously, the incisions of the midrib have broken this leaf down. Incisions of the lamina up to the midrib has broken this leaf down into a number of leaflets. Okay. So, if the leaf was entire, this middle portion would be known as midrib, right? Now, since the leaf has already been incised and broken down into a number of leaflets, this middle portion would still exist. So, this middle portion now is known as the rachis. It represents the midrib of the leaf. Okay, so this whole structure is a single leaf. We cannot call that this is the leaf, this is the leaf, this is the leaf. No, these are leaflets. And this entire structure, this whole structure is known as a leaf. And this central portion running between these leaflets is known as the rachis, which represents the midrib of the leaf. And this part is the petiole. This part here, from here to here, okay, from the first leaflet to the base of the leaf, this is the petiole. And above the petiole, from this point to this point, this part is the rachis. Okay, so this example is this leaf is of neem plant. Okay, so the example of pinnately compound leaf is neem. Now let's come to palmately compound leaf. In palmately compound leaves, the leaflets are attached at a common point. Now here the leaflets were attached at different points. Okay, these two are attached at this point, these two are attached at this point, and so on. But in palmately compound leaves, all of the leaflets are attached to a common point, a single point. That is at the tip of the petiole. So a petiole is present here, okay. In this picture, it has been omitted, but in reality, a petiole would be present, obviously, because that is how the leaf would be attached to the plant. So at the tip of the petiole, that is right here, the leaflets are attached. So rachis is absent here. Rachis is not present here. It is only present in a pinnately compound leaf. Okay. So example of these kinds of leaves is bombax, which is also known as silk cotton. So this leaf is from the bombax plant. Now it is called as a palmately compound leaf. From the word also you can understand that palm means this part of our hand, right? This is our palm. So the leaf also has this kind of appearance. See, as if we have spread the fingers. Okay. So this kind of structure, when we open our palm, our hands form this kind of appearance, and that is how the leaf looks like this, like the palm of our hand. So this kind of leaves are known as the palmately compound leaves. Okay. Now, how will you differentiate between a whole leaf and the leaflets? A question must be arising in your mind that, okay, now we know by examples that these are pinnately compound or palmately compound leaves, and these are leaves and these are leaflets. But how in actual, when you will go out in nature and you will identify that this is a leaf and this is a leaflet? How do you not confuse between the two? So the answer is very simple, okay. whenever you need to identify a leaf, you should look whether the leaf has stipules or not. Stipules, axillary bud, okay? If the leaf has stipules and axillary buds, you can identify that yes, this is a leaf. Because the leaflets won't have either of the two. The leaflets, they resemble the leaves in their entire sense, okay? They also have a base, they also have a stalk, they also have a blade. So base, petiole and blade, all of these three parts that are present in a leaf are also present in the leaflet. Similarly, here the leaf is there, petiole is there, leaf base is there. Here we have to call it the rachis because this is the rachis actually, because this is the terminal leaflet. Okay, so here we cannot see the presence of a petiole, but in these side leaflets, petiole is present. Okay. So, and at the base of the leaf also, this is the entire leaf. Okay. At this leaf is also attached to the stem with the structure, and this structure is the petiole. So this is the entire leaf. It is broken down into the leaflets. So when you will look at these individual leaflets, none of these leaflets has stipules or axillary buds. The stipule is present here at the base of the leaf where they are supposed to be present, right? So that is how you will identify that these three are not leaves, these are leaflets of a single leaf, because stipules are present here. Axillary bud is present here, which means that the parts that are present above these stipules, all of these represent a single leaf. Okay, and these are leaflets of that leaf. Okay, so all of these three leaflets are not different leaves, they are the three leaflets of a single leaf. That is how you will differentiate between a whole leaf and a leaflet. So let us read this quickly. The leaflets resemble leaves in having a base, a stalk and a blade, but they do not have axillary buds and stipules. Now let's come to phyllotaxy. Now if we break this word down, phylon means leaf and taxis means arrangement. So arrangement of leaves is basically known as phyllotaxy. Phyllotaxy is the pattern of arrangement of leaves on the stem or its branches. How the leaves are arranged, the pattern of their arrangement is known as phyllotaxy. Phyllotaxy is of three types: alternate, opposite and whorled. Now a very simple mnemonic to understand and learn all these three terms. Okay, the types of phyllotaxy: whoa, like whoa. You can remember this these three terms using this mnemonic, because W means whorled, O means opposite, A means alternate. Okay, so whorled, opposite, alternate. Use this mnemonic to learn this, memorize it, and you will be able to recollect these three types of phyllotaxy. Okay. Now number one is alternate phyllotaxy. In alternate phyllotaxy, a single leaf arises at each node in alternate manner. As the name suggests, here the leaves are arising in an alternate manner. First leaf is arising on the right side, then on the left side. Then as we go up on the right side, then left, right, left. So alternatively they are present. Alternately they are present. A single leaf is present at each node, not two leaves. One leaf is present per node. Okay, so such kind of arrangement where one leaf arises at each node in an alternate manner. For example, first it would be present at the right, then left, then right, then left, then right, then left. Such kinds of leaf arrangement are known as alternate leaf arrangements, and they are seen in China rose or the hibiscus plant, mustard plant, sunflower plants. So these are the examples of alternate phyllotaxy. Please remember these examples, important. These are the important examples, CMS. Okay, you can use this abbreviation to memorize the examples of alternate phyllotaxy. Okay, you can use this example to memorize the examples of this. This example was of China rose plant. Okay. Now let's come to opposite phyllotaxy. What happens in opposite phyllotaxy? As the name suggests, the leaves are present opposite to each other. At each point here, in alternate, one leaf was present per node. Here, two leaves are present per node and they are present opposite to each other. See, here also they are present opposite to each other. Here also the leaves are present opposite to each other. So in opposite type, a pair of leaves is present at each node. See, a pair means two leaves are present at each node and they lie opposite to each other. It is seen in Calotropis and guava plants. So Calotropis is one example, another example is guava plant. So this example is from the guava plant. Okay. Now let's come to the third type of phyllotaxy, which is the whorled phyllotaxy. So what happens in whorled phyllotaxy? In opposite, two leaves were present at a single node, right? Here more than two leaves arise at a node to form a whorl of leaf. Okay, a circle or a whorl of leaves. Now numerous leaves are present at a node. So this kind of leaf arrangement is known as the whorled leaf arrangement. It is seen in Alstonia. This example is from the Alstonia plant. So what is the difference between whorled phyllotaxy and opposite phyllotaxy? In opposite phyllotaxy, only two leaves were present at a node. Here, more than two leaves are present at the node, which that is a numerous number of leaves are present at a single node in order to form a ring, the whorl of leaves. Okay, so this kind of whorled arrangement of leaves is present in whorled phyllotaxy, can be called as the whorled phyllotaxy. Now let's come to the modification of leaves. In stems also we study different modifications of stem. In roots also we study different modifications of root. So in leaves also certain modifications are present. So what are modifications? Apart from, so all of either the stem, root or leaves, they have some typical functions, the general functions which they perform. For example, leaves perform photosynthesis. Roots are responsible for the absorption of water and minerals. Okay, stem is responsible for holding the plant. Okay, it acts as the backbone of the plant. But apart from these general functions, the stem, these parts of the plant, they modify to perform functions other than these general functions. These things are known as the modifications in them. Okay, whenever the parts of the plant leaving their general function, they specialize in order to form some other function and not that function which they were supposed to do, we say that they have modified themselves to perform these specialized or these different functions. So leaves also are modified to perform functions other than their general function, their main function, that is photosynthesis. Now what are these functions? Let's study. What are these modifications? Let's study these modifications. So leaves can modify themselves for support. They can modify themselves for storing food. They can modify themselves for protecting the plant, and there can be some other modifications also. Talking about support, how do the leaves modify themselves in order to support the plant? They can modify into leaf tendrils. They can form leaf hooks. Then in storage of food, there are succulent leaves. Scale leaves are present as seen in onion, those fleshy leaves that are present in onion. Then for protection, leaves can modify into spines. Then other modifications which we have put in this category includes phyllodes, leaf bladder, leaf pitcher, which are present in the pitcher plant, leaf bladder in insectivorous plants. Leaf pitcher is also present in pitcher plant, which is an insectivorous plant. So these are some modifications of leaves, and we will study each of these categories one by one. Starting off with leaf tendrils. So leaf tendrils are structures which are formed by leaves for supporting the plant. These are modifications of leaf for support. Okay. So the whole leaf can get modified into a tendril for climbing. Now tendrils are these coiled structures. We also saw the stem tendrils in the previous video. Okay. So leaves can also form these thread-like coil structures. What is the purpose of these coil structures? They help the plant to climb distances upwards, or they can help the plant to bind or coil around a support. These tendrils will coil around a support and help the plant to climb, making light available to the plant, helping the plant to occupy more space, expand itself. So the whole leaf can also get modified into a tendril for climbing. Okay. For example, as you can see in this leaf, these structures right here, these are not leaves. These are leaves only. I'm sorry. These are leaves which have modified themselves into tendrils. So when you look at this plant, you will just say, oh, this is a tendril. But no, these are the modifications of leaves only. These structures are leaves which have modified themselves to look like these tendrils. Okay, and these structures right here which look like leaves are actually the stipule part of the leaves. Okay, the stipule parts which were very reduced, present in a pair at the point of attachment of the leaf and the stem. These stipules that are present to protect the axillary bud in the center, these stipules now have expanded in this case to perform the function of leaf, that is photosynthesis. Now someone has to photosynthesize, right? These tendrils, they cannot photosynthesize. Now come on, look at them. These are thread-like. How will they ever photosynthesize? So stipules have taken the charge here to perform that function. So this is how brilliantly nature works. The stipules become foliaceous to perform photosynthesis, as seen in wild pea with the example we just discussed. Its scientific name is Lathyrus aphaca. Okay. Then in some plants, the upper leaflets, see, focus here, leaflets is mentioned. The upper leaflets in some plants can get modified into tendrils for climbing. Example, sweet pea, edible pea. See, this example is of edible pea, Pisum sativum. Okay, the peas which we eat, green colored. In Hindi we call them matar. Okay, so the upper leaflets of edible pea, they modify themselves into leaflet tendrils. Okay, these were the leaf tendrils, these are leaflet tendrils because they were the modifications of leaves. Here leaflets are present, so these leaflets are modified, getting modified into tendrils, we are calling them leaflet tendrils. Okay, so in this plant, leaves were only present. The leaves in this plant were not divided into leaflets. That is why leaf tendril. Here the leaves are divided into leaflets. These are compound leaves. So that is why we are calling them as leaflet tendrils to be more specific. So in some plants, the leaves will get modified into tendrils. In some other plants, the upper leaflets will get modified into tendrils for climbing. And this example of leaflet tendrils is seen in sweet pea, in edible pea. Sweet pea's scientific name is Lathyrus odoratus and the scientific name of edible pea is Pisum sativum. And see here also the stipules have expanded and become foliaceous in order to perform the function of photosynthesis. See how big the stipule is. Okay. Now let's come to leaflet hooks, the second modification under the support category. So in Bignonia, the 3 terminal leaflets that are present in compound leaves, they become transformed into clawed-like curved hooks for climbing. What are hooks? Hooks help any structure to hang somewhere, right? Hooks help a structure to hang itself somewhere. So these leaflets in Bignonia, 3 terminal leaflets of compound leaves, they become transformed into these clawed hooks, these curved hooks which help the plant to climb. Okay, so in Bignonia, these leaflet hooks are seen. So earlier there were 3 leaves only, but 3 leaflets only. This was the entire leaf. Okay, this was the entire leaf which was compound in nature. So it was not present as the lamina was not entire. It was broken down into 5 leaflets. Number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, 5. So these 3, 4, 5 leaflets modified themselves into leaflet hooks, which are these curved claw-like structures which help the bignonia plant to climb. See, it helps the plant to climb. These curved hook-like structures will help the plant to hook themselves to certain supportive structures which are present in its environment. So this was about leaflet hooks. Now let's come to the storage category or under the modification of leaves. So in storage category, number 1 is succulent leaves. Now succulent leaves are leaves which are very fleshy and swollen. Why they are fleshy and swollen? Because they store water, they store mucilage or food. Mucilage is that gluey or gelatinous kind of fluid which comes out of the plant. For example, aloe vera is one of the example of succulent plants because it has succulent leaves. So whenever you will break off the aloe vera plant, it will exude a very sticky kind of liquid, that is mucilage. Okay, so these succulent leaves, they are fleshy and swollen. That is their characteristic feature. How to identify a succulent leaf? Because the leaves of the succulent leaves would be very fleshy and swollen because they will store water, mucilage or food. So fleshy and swollen leaves are succulent leaves. They are found in plants of saline, salty habitat or xerophytic. Xerophytic habitats are those where water is scarce, in desert kind of areas, arid areas. Okay, arid areas or desert kind of areas. Arid areas are those only, the desert areas. So examples of these plants having succulent leaves are aloe vera, then bryophyllum. So aloe is the genus. Okay, that is why it is written here, because it will include more than one species, not just aloe vera. Numerous other species under the genus aloe can have succulent leaves. Then bryophyllum also has succulent leaves. So this was about succulent leaves. Okay. Now let's come to scale leaves, the number 2nd type under the category storage. So scale leaves are small, dry, membranous kinds of leaves. They are very small leaves, they are dry, they are very papery, thin, membranous kinds of leaves, and they do not take part in photosynthesis. They do not perform photosynthesis or harness the energy of they do not perform photosynthesis in which they harness the energy of sunlight to make food for the plant. They don't do that. So the examples of these scale leaves are present in casuarina, in ruscus they are seen. So this image is of the casuarina plant. Okay, so these structures which you see here, these kinds of these scales, these are the scale leaves. These are leaves actually of the plant. Look how much they have changed in their appearance. From green structures, they are looking like this yellow kind of scaly structures. The leaves that we know are green in color, right? Green and exuberant in appearance. But here these are so yellow, thin, pale, membranous kinds of structures. These are leaves only which have modified themselves into scale-like structures. That is why the name scale leaves is given. So all of these leaves, see at each node these leaves are present. Here the nodes are present, the nodes are condensed together here at the upper part of the plant, but here you can see very vividly that at each node these scale leaves are present. Okay, these structures here. So sometimes these leaves are thick and fleshy also. They are not always scaly. Sometimes these leaves can get thick and fleshy and they can store food. Most of the time they are small, dry, membranous. They don't perform photosynthesis, but sometimes it so happens that they become thick, fleshy in order to store food. As seen in onion. We all consume onion, garlic, right? So this is the example of onion. See, now onion has a modified stem also, okay, a discoid stem. The stem is reduced in onion. We saw in stem modification that onion is the bulb. It is an underground stem modification. It also has certain leaves, which the part that we consume is the leaf part of the onion, right? Those fleshy leaves which we eat are the modified leaves. Okay, so this is the leaf part of the onion. Here the leaves are modified into fleshy kind of leaves, because here the scale leaves, these all are scale leaves only, which are thick and fleshy in appearance, and they store food. Okay, so such similar kinds of leaves are also seen in garlic, which store food, which are also thick and fleshy. So most of the times the scale leaves look like this, but in some cases like in onion and garlic, they become fleshy to store food. So onion has both modified leaves also, modified stem also. See, this is the modified stem part, this is the modified leaf part. Here the leaves are fleshy, here the stem part is modified. Okay, and here the adventitious roots are present. See, all three are present in a single plant. Okay, so scale leaves are basically dry and membranous kinds of leaves, to summarize we can say, but in some cases like in onion and garlic, they can also become fleshy in order to store, they can become fleshy because they store food. That is why they are fleshy in appearance. Okay. Now let's come to the category number 3, protection. So in protection, we are talking about leaf spines. There was only one example, one category that was present under the category of protection. There was only one type of modification, which was leaf spines. So leaf can also get reduced or modified into spines in order to protect the plant. Okay. Their function is to protect the plants from what? From grazing animals, and also in order to reduce water loss, that is reduce transpiration. So in arid regions or in plants growing in the desert kinds of areas, the plant needs to conserve the water. So the leaves get reduced to spines. Okay, so that the water is not lost, not much water is lost via the process of transpiration. So examples of leaf spines are present in Opuntia asparagus. See, this is the Opuntia plant. Here the leaves have reduced themselves into these pointy structures which are known as leaf spines. Okay. In acacia, the stipules of the leaves are modified into spines. See here, these are the spines of acacia. These are not the leaves, these are the stipules which have modified themselves into these spines. This is the stipule part of the leaf. This is not the lamina part or the petiole part. This is the stipule part, which is the part of the leaf base which has modified into spine. Okay. So this was, the example was from acacia plant. Now let's come to the last category, which is the other modifications. Number 1 is phyllodes under other modification category. So in phyllodes, what happens is the lamina is reduced. The lamina of the leaf is reduced very much. So instead what happens is the petioles or the rachis, in case of the compound leaves, it becomes flattened and it expands into a sickle shaped structure for performing photosynthesis. So in order to compensate for the function of leaves, here the lamina, if the lamina of the leaf is reduced, the leaves are very much reduced, some other part has to get expanded and perform the function of photosynthesis. So in phyllodes, what happens is the petiole or the rachis part of the leaf becomes flattened, it expands in order to form a sickle shaped structure. Now this structure will perform photosynthesis. Okay. Now, see, what is a sickle? Let us understand number 1 statement clearly first. A sickle is a farm tool which looks like this. See, this is a sickle. Okay. And the example of phylode is seen in the Australian acacia plant. Right here. This image is of a phylode. See, these are the normal leaves. Here the lamina is reduced and the leaves are look like this. They are not able to perform photosynthesis. So because or even if they are performing, it would not be able to satisfy all the food or nutrient requirements of the plant. So the phylode has taken over that function. What is phylode? It is the petiole or the rachis which has become flattened and which has expanded into this sickle-like structure or a C kind of structure. What is sickle? A C kind of structure, because this farm tool sickle has a C kind of appearance, right? So phyllodes also have this kind of curved C-like appearance. The alphabet C I'm talking about, okay? So a phylode is basically a modified leaf stalk, which can be a modified petiole also, which can be a modified rachis also. In case of compound leaves, rachis. In simple leaves, petioles. So what is the purpose of expanding itself into the sickle kind of structure? So number one function is now they have specialized or modified themselves for photosynthesis. It is also a mechanism to reduce transpiration because it is vertically placed and it has fewer stomata. Now the transpiration losses from phylode would also be lesser because it is vertically placed, okay? It is placed like this, vertically placed, and it has fewer stomata. So if from stomata transpiration, water losses occur, right? Transpiration occurs. But if the stomata are fewer in number, the transpiration would also be less. That is, ultimately the water loss would be less. So the phyllodes or the phyllodes have lesser stomata and they are vertically placed. As a result, the transpiration is also reduced. So it has two main functions. Number one, photosynthesis. Number two, it reduces transpiration because it is vertically placed and it has fewer stomata. And the examples of phyllodes are seen in Australian acacia, in Parkinsonia plant. Okay. So this was all about phyllodes. Phylloclades we studied in the stem modifications. Do not confuse between the two. Phylloclades are different, phyllodes are different. Phylloclades are stem modifications. Phyllodes are leaf modifications. Okay, from phyll you can remember, phyll, leaves. Okay, so phyllodes are leaf modifications and phylloclades are stem modifications. Now under other modification categories, the second type is leaf pitcher. What happens in leaf pitcher? The leaf or the lamina is modified into a large pitcher. Pitcher is a jug kind of structure which holds something. Okay, a pitcher of water we can say, for example. Okay, so the leaf or lamina is modified into a large pitcher, a large vessel in Nepenthes, which is also known as the pitcher plant. So this is the image of the Nepenthes plant. You can see here this kind of structure is present in the Nepenthes plant. This structure is known as the pitcher. It is what? It is the modification of the lamina of the leaf. Okay, the lamina part of the leaf or the blade part has modified itself into this pitcher or vessel-like structure. In normal terms, a pitcher in our day-to-day daily life, pitcher is a structure which holds something. For example, it holds water. That's why previously I said a pitcher of water. Okay, a jug of water, a pitcher of water. But here this structure has some other function which we will study. Now this pitcher here, it does not hold water or anything. It is there to catch insects, to trap insects and digest them. This structure eats insects. It catches the insects and then it digest those insects, because these insects are the food for this plant. Why? Because this is an insectivorous plant. It eats insects. Okay, so the pitcher catches and digests insects. The leaf apex forms a colored lid to attract the insect. See, a lid is present at the top of this pitcher. A lid should be present, right? Otherwise the insect would escape from the pitcher. So a lid should be present to trap the insect. Okay, so leaf apex, the apex part of the leaf forms this colored lid to attract insects and then ultimately to trap them. Okay, the leaf base, this is colored because insects get attracted to this colored lid. So it has two-fold function, to attract the insects and then to trap them. The leaf base here is winged and the petiole is tendrilar. Okay, The leaf base is winged. See, this is the leaf base. It is winged. And then there is this petiole, which is tendrilar, coiled kind of structure. And this is the leaf base. Winged kind of structure is present as a leaf base. See, this looks like a wing. Okay, so this was about leaf picture. Please remember this example, very important. Now let's come to the modification number 3 under the category other modifications. Okay, so this modification is leaf bladders. Now what are bladders? Bladders are certain sac-like structures, just like pitcher, okay, was a container or a sac-like structure to hold something. Similarly, bladders are also sac-like structures. Now these occur in aquatic plants, which are the plants which are present in water, okay, and which are carnivorous. So leaf bladders are the modifications of leaves which are seen in aquatic plants which are carnivorous. So aquatic carnivorous plants, certain aquatic carnivorous plants show the presence of leaf bladders. So they are seen in utricularia, which is also known as bladderwort. The common name of utricularia is bladderwort. So leaf bladders are seen in aquatic carnivorous plants of the genus utricularia. Okay. Some leaf segments are modified to form small bladders in these plants. Some parts of the leaves or some portions of the leaves, they get modified to form these sac-like structures or these bladders. And each of these bladders have trap valves, just like the lid that we saw in the pitcher plant, which was present to trap the insect. Similarly, in the bladders also, these trap valves or these lids are present, and certain glands are present which are responsible for trapping the insect. The trap valves are responsible for trapping the insects, and the glands which are present in these plants, in these leaf bladders, these glands are responsible for the secretion of certain enzymes and digestive juices which will digest the small animals or small organisms that the plant is ingesting. Okay. So just like Nepenthes was a carnivorous plant, okay, an insectivorous plant, similarly utricularia is also a carnivorous or an insectivorous plant. So as you can see in this image, numerous bladders, leaf bladders can be seen. So these structures which are present here at intervals, you can see at numerous intervals, numerous bladders, leaf bladders can be seen, okay, at these places. So these structures are known as the leaf bladders. This is a bladderwort, okay. If we zoom the structure in, this is the microscopic view of a leaf bladder. See, this is a leaf bladder. This is a sac-like structure, okay. In this structure, glands are present which will secrete the juices to digest the insects or any other small organisms that the utricularia or bladderwort is ingesting. Then there is this trap valve that is present at the top, okay, for trapping the insect or the small animals or organisms that the plant is ingesting. So this was about the modification leaf bladders. Okay, so let us move forward now. Now let's come to the Neet PYQs. So number 1 question is from Neet 2019. Which of the following shows world phyllotaxy? Mustard, China rose, Alstonia or Calotropis? Now mustard plant has alternate kind of phyllotaxy, right? For alternate kind of phyllotaxy, we remembered an acronym which was CMS. China rose, mustard, sunflower. Okay, so mustard, see China rose here, it also has alternate kind of phyllotaxy. Calotropis has opposite kind of phyllotaxy. Calotropis and guava were the 2 examples which we studied. C and G. They have opposite kind of phyllotaxy. World phyllotaxy is seen in Alstonia. There was only one example which we saw in world phyllotaxy, which was of the Alstonia plant. Okay. what the difference between the three phyllotaxies? Let us just revise it quickly. Phyllotaxy is the pattern of arrangement of leaf on the stem or its branches. Okay, so in alternate phyllotaxy, the leaves are, a single leaf is present at each node and they are present in an alternate fashion like this. If one leaf is present here at the right, then the other leaf is present here at the left, then again right, then at the left. This is alternate phyllotaxy. In the opposite phyllotaxy, two leaves are present at a single node. That is, a pair of leaves is present at a single node and they are present opposite to each other. See, they are present opposite to each other. Then at the other node, see, again two leaves are present opposite to each other. Then other node, two leaves are present opposite to each other. So two leaves are present at each node and they are opposite to each other. In whorled phyllotaxy, what happens is, at each node, more than two leaves are present. Okay, a whorl of leaf is present at each node like this. A ring or whorl of leaves is present at each node like this here also. So at each node, these whorls of leaves will be present. So this kind of phyllotaxy or leaf arrangement is known as the whorled phyllotaxy. Okay, so the correct answer is option number C. Now this question is from AIIMS 2012. Phylode is present in asparagus, euphorbia should be written here. Okay. Australian acacia, opuntia. So phylode is present in which of these following plants? We just studied about phyloclades in detail. Phyllodes are leaf modifications of leaves in which the petiole or the rachis gets flattened and expanded in order to perform the function of photosynthesis. Okay, and this kind of phylode is, this kind of leaf modification, which is known as phylode, is seen in Australian acacia, not asparagus, not opuntia, not euphorbia. In opuntia and asparagus, we studied about the leaf spines. Okay, the modification of leaf that we studied in these two structures were the spines. The phyllodes we studied in Australian acacia. Okay, so the correct answer is option number C, Australian acacia. Okay, so that was all for today's video, students. Hope you liked this video. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching this video. If you have any feedback and suggestions, or if you found something useful, do let me know in the comments below, and like this video, definitely share it with your friends and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.